Hello. So as part of this video, we are going to see, okay. So this is still related with the MCP server on new listeners, okay, which is going to validate your sessions, okay. And once your session is going to authenticate it, then you are allowed to access all the available tools, okay. So in our previous videos related with the MCP server on new session listener, we have seen that how we are going to only authenticate this client ID and client secret, okay. So which is going to pass as part of the this our header informations, and the same will be going to receive here as a additional properties, okay. And that we are going to validate, and we are going to store into the object store against our the session ID. And that particular session ID we are going to again fetch it to see whether this session ID does exist into our object store or not as part of the any MCP server request, okay, whether this request is coming from the LLM, okay. Now as part of this video we are going to see the enhanced version of this, okay. Although this client ID and client secret will be there, okay. Now think about how we can able to validate the basic authentications, which means that if the username and password which is coming as part of the basic authorizations, okay, how that we are going to see, okay. So what I am doing, if you see here, as part of the extract client ID on this, okay, I'm also checking this as part of the HTTP headers, see the authorizations. So authorization is the field which is basically going to as part of this additional properties, and this HTTP header is nothing but we are already storing this HTTP headers, that is nothing but the additional properties, okay. So I'm doing the, because sometimes happens some client is going to connected with our MCP server by using client ID and client credentials. Some could be possible using the auth protocols, okay. Maybe we can keep the uniform, but which one is preferred, and up to this is up to the requirement, okay. So here if you see, like, I have extracted this additional properties, and from this additional properties I'm going to extract this authorizations. In the second choice I'm just checking, okay. So I'm not there are a lot could be possibles, like you can be able to validate that, okay, encrypt, decrypt, whatever. I'm just checking whether this authorizations informations variable is not empty, okay. So I'm going to store that session, and here I'm just putting this session ID, timestamp, auth headers, and authenticated, okay. So let's see how this is going to validate, because the purpose is we are going to see these authentications by using the LLM, okay. So for the LLM we are passing the header, so that is going to validate through this flow, okay. If we are going to use the authorizations where I have used the MCP client, okay, and this MCP client is using basically this client ID and client secret we are passing as a header, okay. So what I have done, okay, let's take the step by step. What I have done, this MCP server is already up and running over here, okay. So that I have deployed over here, okay. So let me see if I'm going to connect with this cursor, okay. So that is going to authenticate it or not. So let me enable it. So once I'm going to enable, I should see like request this session listener has been triggered, okay. So here we can able to see means it is working fine. So let's wait to update this log. Yeah, so here you can see this is the client ID and client secret we are getting, okay. And this has been, if you see the authorizations, I'm not sure as part of this we are passing this authorizations is not part of there, okay. So this client ID and client secret we are passing. I have just masked it for the security purpose, and here you can see this is the status is authenticated, means we are good to authenticate, like see, okay. Let me see if I am going to use this something. This flow, okay. Although this is not there, let me log this close. Just I wanted to fetch a case to see how it is going to work. Okay. So suppose if I'm taking this case, okay, and this has been authenticated. So let me use this context. Okay, page case details where case ID is this. What happened? Page case details where case ID is this. Okay, let me trigger it. Okay, since we are already authenticated, okay, so we are good to triggering this, and we are able to see this case details. Okay, so if I will go here into any point, and here we can able to see there must be a response we should see here. Just wait. Yeah, so see, we are good to get this case details here. So once it is authenticated, okay, so this authentication is happening through the client ID and client secret, so we are good on that. Okay, so let me, how we can able to authenticate through our like MCP clients which we have created into the Mule. Okay, so suppose these are the MCP client I have created okay, in the Mule, and which is basically going to fetch case details. All these operations are there. Okay, I have done nothing, but if you see here these connections, if you go to this connection as a MCP client, okay, this MCP client as part of the authentication is using the basic authentications, which means that we should get these authorizations once the session will be going to enable connect with this MCP server, and that session is going to this what do you say session established through my MCP client to the MCP server. In that case, we are using the basic authentications. There are some other authentications also here. So once we are going to send the basic authentication, what we are going to pass? Username and password. So we will see how this is going to come. Okay, so this basic authentication will be part of the authorizations. Okay, so in order to save it, okay, let me run this locally so that we can able to see these authorizations. So what happens, like whenever the additional properties will be going to look like this. Okay, so here you will we can able to see the authorizations kind of things. Okay, and it will be look like the basic, and here this will be encrypted version of our the username and password. Okay, and this is nothing but the basic authentications we are passing our nothing but the client ID and client secret itself. Okay, so we will see when we are going to pass this client ID and client secret through the postman, that is going to pass here. Okay, in our API, and the same client ID and client secret is going to pass through this our basic authentications. And once we are going to see into the MCP server, once this session is going to establish, we are going to see that as part of the authorizations under the additional properties. So just I am starting this locally to test it. Okay, meanwhile it is taking like time, so I'm stopping. Okay, I'm pausing. Okay, once it is going to start, I will resume. Yeah, so now we can able to see this has been deployed. Okay, and let's see what is happening into our MCP server. Okay, so till now in the MCP server we don't have any activity. So this was the last activity we have performed to fetch the case details. But as soon as this has been triggered, our MCP client, you can see here. Okay, like this is the, so as part of that we don't have any client certificate. Okay, so that is not going to use. Okay, but if you see, we can able to see the authorizations. Okay, and we are not able to see this client ID and client secret, because that client's ID and client secret which we are passing, that has been now converted into the authorizations which we are using the basic one. Okay, so that is the another level of the another way to how we can validate these authorizations if they are passing as a basic authentications. So here you can see we have triggered it. Okay, now since our MCP client is connected, okay, let me use my postman. Okay, if you see my postman, so I'm using this fetch case details and this is the case ID. I'm just passing this client ID and client secret. Okay, this client ID and client secret is getting passed. Okay, and see how through this we are going to get this value. Okay, so just I have triggered. Okay, maybe this is hang. Okay, so let me restart this postman. Okay, so its postman is getting restarted. So now we can, let's try to hit it. Okay, it's loading. Yeah, so this is the fetch case details by case ID. Okay, so this is the client ID client secret we are passing, nothing body, just hit it. See how we are going to get. Since it is authenticated, we are going to get this much details. Okay, so here you can see this is has happened through this one only. Okay, so this is already authenticated and we are good to hit this. Okay, and if you going to see here, we are going to get this, and this is, see, this authentications is happening through the this authorizations. Okay, here the status is authenticated. Okay, so this is the how I would like to wanted to discuss. Okay, apart from this client ID and client secret, we can also do the authentications whenever through the basic authentication. Similar way we can also validate this authentication through the or different approaches like the auth protocol, so that we are going to see into our subsequent video. So hope you are going to explore by yourself, and you are going to, by watching, you are going to enjoy this video. Okay, thanks for your time.